Hey guys, it's Spyro4 here. It's summer 2026 and the Pro X2 SUPERSTRIKE is supposed to be the best gaming mouse currently in the market. I tried the Viper V4 Pro and I'm having the chance to try finally the SUPERSTRIKE, and honestly in this video it's going to be a review at the same time as showing you the best settings for the mouse and giving you a final verdict at the end whether you should get this one and compare it to the Viper V4 Pro from my experience. Let's not really waste any more time. Let's really get into it. Talk about what has been improved, the pros and the cons, things that were just the same if not worse. And by the way, liking the video supports me a lot, and 99% or 100% of you are not subscribed. A lot of people just... Anyways, it's fine. Let's talk about what has been improved, okay? First of all, we have these skates. A lot of people hate these skates still, but in my opinion, I like them a lot. These are different quality than PTFE. These are more rigid and they will last you years compared to the previous ones that were thinner. These ones are not. They're a little thicker and they also improved the base. These little side grooves where the skates actually rest, they used to protrude out a little bit from the base and it was harder for dot skates users. It was scratchy on glass pads. So they actually made them a little shorter and basically flattened the base a little more for dot skates users. And what else has been improved? The coating has a little bit of grip on the clicks area here, is a tiny bit more grippy. The body though, I don't know, maybe just placebo, but it feels overall a tiny bit more grippier than my previous Superlight 2. And lastly, the star of the show, the clicks here is using a haptic inductive technology here, which I wouldn't say made me a better gamer, but it is still the most improved thing compared to the Superlight 2. And I'm afraid to say this is it. This is all they improved. Anything else is either the same as the Superlight 2 or simply even worse. Starting with the weight. The weight balancing here, as you can see, terrible. It is so much front heavy. It's not a deal breaker or anything, but looking again at the price of $180, and I got this one for $200, I really had to sell my Viper V4 to get this one. But again, I'll keep that for the end of the video. I did sell it for a reason, not just like that. It's not because this one is better, but again, the entire weight of the mouse is a little worse, maybe by 1 gram than the Superlight 2, and it's sitting at 61.13 with the puck included. Removing the puck even, it's still, I believe, 59.6 grams. But yeah, let's talk about the other cons, or the things that were not improved. I mean, the sensor here, this sensor came out 3 years ago with the Logitech Superlight 2, and it's still the same here. Not even tweaked. I mean, I'm not asking them to come up with a newer sensor, but I'm just asking for some sort of firmware tweaks to add some options to the software, like the sensor angling rotational thingy, or the LOD steps adjustment by 0.1 millimeters. This sensor, it is, I wouldn't say terrible, but I really need to use this term outdated at this point, especially after Razer hired up their bar in this year with their frame sync and the sensor implementation. Anyways, it keeps getting worse, unfortunately. The side buttons here are the same mushy side buttons from 2018, and they're also a little heavy to click. I mean, it's just terrible to see again in 2026. As well as the scroll wheel. Scroll wheel has good defined steps. They're not slippery or loose, and the middle click is so much spammable. I enjoy using a scroll wheel. However, it's using the same encoder as the Superlight 2, and this encoder had a lot of QC issues in the past with a lot of Superlight users, and a lot of people had to RMA their mouse because of it, and even wiggles as well, as you can see. So it is a huge disappointment to see still using the same. And I mean, the worst part was the weight, honestly. In my opinion, the weight, if it was adjusted, and it's due to the power play system, it still exists, and I don't think anybody still uses it. Do people use this? Actually, tell me in the comments. There could have been a slight engineering done on the mouse to change the structure, the inside structure. I'm not talking about the shape. They could keep the shape the same, but they could actually change something inside the structure to make the mouse feel better in hand, because it does feel heavy and front heavy, and I really can't get over it at $180. All right, we're done with the pros and cons, and now let's talk about the star of the show, the main clicks, the haptic inductive technology. And now let's pull up the software and see. All right, in this part of the video, I'll be talking about the main clicks, or my personal experience with it, as well as showing you the best settings for the mouse, honestly, in my opinion, and I'll tell you why. And starting off, I'm using the onboard memory software instead of G-Hub. And the only thing you need to do in G-Hub after installing it is disabling the gaming surface pad recognition on the for the sensor. And once you turn that off, you can just close the software and remove it from startup options on your Windows. So first thing, before we move on to the clicks, make sure the mouse is on 4K polling rates, because it shows a tiny bit of difference in the latency of the clicks between 1K and 8K. On 8K, it's the best, but unfortunately the haptics technology takes a lot of battery life, and the battery here isn't as good as the Superlight, but it's still okay. It's an okay battery, it's not bad. We move on, let's talk about the actuation point, rapid trigger, and the clicks haptics. We have 3 settings that were added here compared to the Superlight, and these 3 settings are game changing in terms of in-game advantage to click your enemies' heads and shoot them first, especially if you have low ping. And the second game advantage is that a lot of people like spam clicking in games, and this works great, especially with rapid trigger. And lastly, the feeling of the haptic inductive technology is absolutely superb. Let me tell you what it feels like with it turned off. Like if you turn off the mouse right now, you feel nothing, like if there is no switch whatsoever down there. But of course there's a little spring that keeps the key up, so whenever you press down, it pushes against you and pulls it back up to place. That's the only thing you feel. But when you turn on the mouse, once you reach the actuation setting you have on the software, the click vibrates and gives you this haptic pulse. It's just a small vibration, it's very quick, pulses your finger and lets you know that you actually registered a click. And it feels like the old iPhone fingerprint button. When you click on it, that haptic button just feels very similar to it. And yeah, that's really the best way to describe it. Regarding the actuation point, as you can see here, so we can adjust it from a sensitivity of 1 to 10. So if you're looking for the safest, most natural click that is not too sensitive, that you can mostly use for browsing, gaming, and everything, it's definitely going to be 3. 3 works the best. I want everyone to put it on 3. However, I find 2 to perform a little bit better if you get used to it. I forced myself to use 2 for a few games. I actually got used to it. When I got used to it, I was like, there's no really point to go back to 3. 2 gives me the lowest latency, the quickest shooting with my weapon in game, while not being triggered accidentally like 1. So with 1, it gives you an even insane actuation speed. However, I get these accidental clicks in games. Sometimes I just want to rest my finger and I accidentally shoot with my weapon, and you don't want that to happen. It doesn't happen to me with 2, so 2 works best. So I put it on 2 here, and I'm putting it on 3 for button 2 because sometimes while flicking, I accidentally scope with my weapon. I don't really want to scope while flicking because the scoping multiplier is different sensitivity. So I put it on 3 to avoid that, and let's move on to rapid trigger. You guys already know what rapid trigger is. It is available for most of the keyboards nowadays, and as soon as you lift up your finger from the key, the switch disconnects and stops shooting. And the most sensitive option here is 1, and the least sensitive here is 5. So 1, as soon as you lift your finger from the button, you're going to stop shooting, and I don't find 1 to be the best here, guys. It has pros and cons. So the cons are sometimes while you're spraying with an Odin or with this, you're spamming with a weapon in game, sometimes you accidentally stop shooting because it's too sensitive here on rapid trigger. So you really don't want to force your finger on the mouse all the time to make sure it doesn't disconnect by accident. So that's why I'm going safer with 2, and 2 works great. It doesn't give me any disconnects. But the advantage of having it on low, whether 1 or 2 even, the amount of double clicks you can do on this mouse is really insane for tapping on CS as well. If you like tapping with the AK, if you don't like spraying with this with your weapons, as soon as you disconnect your finger from the key, it stops shooting with the AK, it stops tapping the first tap, and you can go do another tap. So yeah, it is amazing, but not on 1, as I said. So 2 works the best, but I have 3 on the right click, because on the right click, you don't want to unscope a sniper by accident. Imagine you're holding a sniper down, you don't want to lift your finger by accident and unscope and then have to rescope again. You know, it's just a little annoying. I don't want to have a disconnection while scoping with my sniper. That's why I have it on 3. Same thing with the actuation point. We have an actuation of 2. Right click 3, rapid trigger 2, right click 3. And finally, the clicks haptics, which is personal preference. I'll leave this to you guys. So these top settings are the best. Looking at 4K pulling rates as well, these are just the best settings you can use for the SUPERSTRIKE. Clicks haptics, however, it's personal preference. On default, it's 3, and you have 5 settings, but there is a warning on G-Hub for 4 and 5. 4 and 5 do consume a little bit more battery because the haptics here have to push more vibration pulses every time, and they're you can feel them harder on your mouse, and especially on the top shell here. 3 is default. 3 works great. However, it's still, even on 3, I feel the vibration not just on the clicks, in the entire structure of the mouse. Maybe I'm too sensitive to this, that's why I said it's personal preference, but while playing, it's a little bit distracting. While aiming, you don't really want that vibration to be felt in your entire finger, like this area of your hand. It's just a little annoying. And I tried one. I played on one for the first day I got the mouse. One worked great, but when your headphones are loud and there's too much going on, you're like fighting and stuff, sometimes you're not sure whether you clicked or not. I mean, you do feel the slight pulse, but it's not too noticeable. Let's say it's not satisfying enough. I didn't buy this mouse to not use the haptics. That's why I used 2. 2 is the best for me. 2 worked absolutely amazing. All right, let's come up to a conclusion, and it's not going to be an easy conclusion here. You really have to watch this part. It's going to be a little longer compared to my other videos. And by the way, you really are trolling if you haven't liked my video yet. Thank you. Is the Logitech SUPERSTRIKE worth it? I would say 100% if you want to try the clicks. This experience that I felt with this clicks and the latency improvement is there. I wouldn't say it's going to make you a better gamer again. It's not going to have a huge in-game advantage, but it is there, and you do feel like it is quicker than any other mouse in the market. It is true. Even the OP1 I feel like this one delivers a better experience than the SPT switches. Unfortunately, besides the main buttons, besides the haptic technology, the mouse is just the same as the Superlight 2, and I would not buy this one over the Superlight for any other reason. So if you have $180 and you want to, like, you have money to buy the mouse and you don't like the shape and you don't like heavy mice, don't get this one, really. Just don't get the Superlight, because a lot of companies are already working and developing and researching this technology for rapid trigger and actuation, adjustable actuation point, and different technologies too. It's like Final Mouse is going with the TMR one. Some other companies are using the same haptic inductive here. Some other companies using the normal magnetic HE technology. Hey, at the end of the year, just wait a few months, maybe like 3, 4, 5 months at max. You will see plenty of Chinese brands offering a similar technology to this for cheaper price and lower weight, and this mouse will definitely, like in 2027, the SUPERSTRIKE will look like a joke compared to the Chinese brands. But if you like the shape of the Superlight and you really have been using this shape for years and this is the only mouse that you're comfortable with, or if you don't mind the shape, you think it's okay and you don't really care too much about the mushy side buttons, the heavyweight, the front heavyweight, this mouse is still a good package. It has good skates in my opinion, and an amazing technology here that's for now unique. And yeah, just go ahead and buy it then. And the people are wondering about the comparison against the Viper V4 Pro. I sold my Viper V4 Pro and it was for one single reason, which is shape is king. The Viper is such an amazing mouse. They have done so much improvements down to really everything. The weight, the skates, the optical encoder, the side buttons latency, and their frame sync and the other sensor adjustments that were absolutely amazing on the V4. V4 is just a better complete package than this one. The V4 is definitely a better product than the Superlight 2 in my opinion. This one is just a one trick to go, but I wouldn't recommend you get the Viper if you don't like the Viper shape. So same thing with me. It is, unfortunately, I'm so sorry. It's not a simple buy this or buy that type of advice I can give you. It's not that simple. Like, nobody really exceeds the other. Every 2 years we have the same companies on the same bar and on the same level. I think they're still on the same level. In terms of sales, maybe the SUPERSTRIKE has more sales, but in terms of like the product value it offers, they're on the same level really right now, even right now with this release. A lot of people might disagree with me in comments, but I know what I'm saying. And going back to the Viper, I sold it due to the flares. I mean, the shape is amazing from this profile, but from this profile, it kind of flares out a little bit. And it's so annoying for me. I forced myself to use it. I just couldn't. Like, I mean, obviously I've been using it for 2 years now, or 2 years and a half, but I don't find myself putting so much time on it. Again, motion sync was not something to be disabled on the Viper V4. And I personally think that the Superlight or the SUPERSTRIKE will serve me more. I'll be putting more hours on this in my opinion. But again, let's argue with each other in the comments, and I do appreciate people who followed until this part of the video. But yeah, $180 is, I paid $200 for this one. Don't recommend anyone to pay this much. If you're broke, just please save your money for the Chinese brands at the end of the year. Yes, I am a Chinese brand glazer because they really don't do this BS. You have useless things that you're never asking for, and a heavy, dude, $180 Logitech front heavy, terrible. Just don't recommend buying this for the people who don't have that much money. But if you do have money, yeah, get it. I had a lot of fun with these. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet, by the way. Have a good day.